So I was checking out of the line at the commissary. Being prior military, we have our own grocery stores called commissaries, and in there they don't have the absolute selection of everything, but everything that they do have is at the lowest price, and that includes beating Walmart on price. So if you can find foodstuffs and grocery items in the commissary, you can absolutely know that you're getting it for the lowest possible price. That's one of the benefits of being a military retiree, or one of the benefits of being in the military or affiliated with the military. One of the few perks we get for being willing to put our lives on the line. But I was checking out at the commissary today, and I had already gone over my budget for what I wanted to spend, and I was already mentally calculating the budgetary impacts of that and what that would do to what I wanted to do with the rest of the money I have. And my first instinct was to go back to when I was poor and either pinch pennies as much as possible, or avoid optional things like tipping the bagger. And I looked at the bagger. It was this young kid working on a Sunday morning, and I quickly decided, okay, the tip is not an option, because for him, what is to me a tip, that is his income. So a tip may feel optional for me, but it ain't optional for him. If not for tips, he probably wouldn't even be there. He's relying on the good faith and generosity of the people that he serves and helps before there is a payment. The people that he helps before a transaction with money takes place. And not only did I tip him, I kept in mind with my current standard of tipping for that service, which is $5. And to him, that's generous, because the standard for a bagger, I didn't have that many bags. It was like 4 bags. The standard for a bagger is, $1, $3, $4 is generous. But they don't see a lot of $5 bills. So I know that a $5 bill is generous and unique. In this situation, in other situations, it's being cheap. But in this situation, a $5 tip to, a teenager trying to make some money in an honest way, the $5 is generous. And he said thank you, which is normative. And then he paused, and he realized that thank you wasn't adequate. And he said it again, but he looked me dead in my eyes and he said, "Thank you so much, sir." And I felt good. And I realized for $5, what I just bought was that feeling. Like, we play games to purchase emotional results. We do drugs to buy emotional results. Hell, we spend money on people to buy feelings. And that feeling that I bought for $5 was his gratitude. And it was more than worth it. And long after he spent that $5, I'll have this memory and you'll have this story. And it's worth way more than $5. You probably spent more than $5 to get access to me or the mechanism by which you're listening to this. But after I walked out, I was questioning, why would I go over my budget and still tip heavy? And here's what the answer is. Generosity is not an option. Generosity is mandatory. So now we look at it at the big picture. And if we run with that idea, if we run with the principle that generosity is not an option, the world will be a better place. One of the problems that we have right now in the world is that generosity is an option. How many people do you know are operating from the framework of generosity is not an option? And now imagine how things would be if generosity was not an option at every level for everybody. Imagine that. Imagine Jeff Bezos adopting the philosophy, generosity is not an option. Warren Buffett, generosity is not an option. And then everybody, at every level, generosity is not an option. And then I asked myself, how did I arrive at this point to where generosity is not an option? And the answer to that is simple. It's been habituated. I've been working on sharing and being generous till it hurts, on purpose, intentionally, for a very long time. I've been on the receiving end of profound generosity. And in terms of generosity, I've even if you trickle together, if we're doing it based on dollar amounts, even if you trickle together all the tips and the gifts and the loans with no payback, and if I put together all of my generosity over my lifetime, it comes nowhere near as close to the amount of generosity that I've received. And I think that's correct. I think that's correct that generosity should not be an option. If you can share, if you can give, do it. If you can't share, you can't give, well, I would argue that scenario almost doesn't exist, but if we're talking about money, then yeah, you could definitely run out of money. But sharing and generosity, even at the humblest level, is still important, even the principle. All right, so let's say you are broke, but you got $1 left. You can share some of that dollar. You can figure it out. So train yourself to be generous. Train yourself to give and share, and habituate it to where you make the decision to give the $5 bill instinctively, even when situationally you don't. It's not good math. So that's it. I just wanted to give you that idea. So know that generosity is not an option. It's mandatory.